She was found on a cold November morning, tucked inside a woven basket on the steps of Station 7. The firefighter on watch heard a cry, opened the door, and saw her tiny face peeking from a folded blanket. There was no note, no name, no clues. Just a small gold locket with a photograph of a tattooed arm. The department named her Grace because they believed she was a gift. She grew up in the firehouse, raised by the men and women who had found her. They taught her to tie knots, to slide down poles, to be brave in the face of danger. She never lacked for love, but she always lacked an answer. Who had left her? Why? And would they ever come back? The locket was her only connection to a past she could not remember. She became a firefighter at 22, the youngest in the station's history. She fought wildfires, pulled families from burning cars, and crawled through smoke so thick she could not see her hands. She saved dozens of lives, but she could not save herself from the question that haunted her. Every face she rescued, she wondered, could this be my father? Could this be my mother? 30 years passed. She was promoted to captain, and the locket still hung around her neck, hidden beneath her uniform. She had stopped searching for answers, had accepted that some mysteries never solved themselves. Then the call came on a Tuesday night. An apartment building, 4 alarms, families trapped on the upper floors. She drove the truck, heart pounding, ready for another fight. The building was an inferno, flames leaping from every window, the roof already collapsing. She directed her crew, then ran inside herself when she heard a cry from the 3rd floor. A man was pinned under a beam, unconscious, his face blackened with smoke. She lifted the beam with strength she did not know she had and dragged him down the stairs. She laid him on the grass as the medics rushed over. He was old, his clothes burned, his breathing shallow. She knelt beside him, catching her own breath, and saw that his sleeve had been torn away. On his forearm was a tattoo. A crest, a wolf, and a tree. The same crest she had seen in the photograph inside her locket. Her hands trembled as she pulled the locket from her neck and opened it. The photograph showed the same tattoo on the same arm, taken 30 years ago. She stared at the man's face, at the lines of age and suffering, and felt the world tilt. "Who are you?" she whispered, though she already knew. The medics loaded him into the ambulance, and she rode with them, her hand holding his. He did not wake until they reached the hospital, until the doctors had treated his burns and wrapped his chest. He opened his eyes, looked around the room, and saw her sitting by his bed. "Where am I?" he asked. "You are in a hospital," she said. "I pulled you from a fire. I am a firefighter." He stared at her, his eyes widening, his hand reaching toward her face. "You look like your mother," he whispered. "You have her eyes." Her breath caught. "How do you know what my mother looks like?" He began to cry, the tears cutting tracks through the soot on his cheeks. "Because I am your father," he said. "I am the one who left you at the fire station. I have been looking for you for 30 years. She pulled her hand away, stood up, and walked to the window. She could not look at him. He told her everything. His name was Daniel, and he had been a young man in trouble. His wife had died giving birth, and he had no money, no family, no way to care for a baby. He had left her at the fire station because he knew firefighters would take care of her. He had planned to come back, but he was arrested the next day for a crime he did not commit. He spent 15 years in prison, and when he got out, the fire station had moved. The records were lost, and no one knew where she had been adopted. He searched for her every day, taking odd jobs, sleeping on the streets, never giving up. He had been living in that apartment building for a year, hoping to find a clue. She listened without speaking, her back to him, her hand clutching the locket. 30 years of wondering, of anger, of longing, all crashing down on her at once. "Why should I forgive you?" she asked. "You threw me away like garbage." He nodded, his voice broken. "You should not forgive me. I do not deserve it. But I needed you to know the truth." She turned to face him, her face wet with tears. "I have saved hundreds of people," she said. "I have never saved anyone who mattered to me." Until tonight. She walked back to his bed, sat beside him, and took his burned hand in hers. "I am not saying I forgive you, but I am not walking away." He spent a month in the hospital, and she visited him every day. She brought him food, read to him, told him about her life as a firefighter. He told her about her mother, a woman with kind eyes and a fierce laugh, who had died bringing her into the world. He showed her photographs he had hidden in a box under his bed. The other firefighters were confused. Why was their captain spending so much time with a homeless man? She did not explain. She was not ready. But when he was discharged, she took him to her home, a small house near the station, and gave him a room. He was frail, damaged, and filled with regret. He was also her father. The months passed, and something shifted between them. She stopped seeing him as the man who had abandoned her and started seeing him as a man who had made an impossible choice. He stopped apologizing and started being present. They cooked together, walked together, and slowly, painfully, began to build something neither of them had ever had: a family. One evening, as the sun set behind the city, he asked her to take him to the fire station where he had left her. The original building was gone, replaced by a parking lot. But she took him there anyway. He stood on the spot where he had placed the basket, and he wept. "I am sorry," he said. "I am so sorry." She put her arm around his shoulders, something she had never done before. "You came back," she said. "That is what matters." He looked at her, at the woman she had become, and saw his wife's eyes staring back. "You are the best thing I ever did," he said. "Even though I did it wrong." She was not ready to call him dad. She was not sure she ever would be, but she was ready to stop running from the past. She wore the locket openly now, not hidden beneath her uniform. And when people asked about the tattooed arm in the photograph, she told them the truth. "That is my father. He made a mistake." He came back. On the night of his 70th birthday, she threw him a party at the fire station. The firefighters who had raised her gathered around, and she introduced him as her father. They did not judge. They understood that family was complicated. They sang and ate and laughed, and for the first time in 30 years, Daniel smiled like a man who had come home. After the party, they sat on the firehouse steps, watching the stars. "Do you remember the night you left me here?" she asked. He nodded, his eyes on the sky. "I remember thinking that I would rather die than do it. But I did it because I loved you." She leaned her head on his shoulder, something she had never done before. "I love you too," she said, "even though I am still angry. Even though it will take time." He kissed the top of her head, and she felt his tears fall into her hair. "I will spend the rest of my life earning that," he said. And in the quiet of the night, a woman who had been left in a basket and a man who had spent 30 years searching finally stopped running. They were home,